Most people look at a U.S. aircraft carrier and think, now that's power. Jets, missiles, a nuclear reactor, 11 of these giants keep the entire world in balance. But I lived aboard one for nearly 7 months, and I'm about to show you what you'll never see on the news. This isn't just a warship. It's a floating city of 5,000 souls that has everything. Its own zip code, a movie theater under the stars, even a gym the Admiral sneaks into at 0500. Today I'm taking you inside the carrier the way only the people who live here ever see it. Welcome aboard. And yeah, buckle up. It's going to be surprising. I'm standing on the hangar deck of the USS Abraham Lincoln, and right above me, just a few meters of steel overhead, the catapults roar, hurling another squadron of Super Hornets into the sky. But down here, beneath the very flight deck the world sees as the ultimate symbol of American might, a completely different life begins. One the news never covers and Hollywood never films. I drop down 2 ladders and step into a long passageway that smells of fresh-cut hair and old-school aftershave. Yes, you heard that right. Directly under the spot where a $100 million jet just launched, there's a working barbershop. 4 chairs, floor-to-ceiling mirrors, and a line of 20 camo-clad sailors waiting their turn. 250 heads a day is their normal pace. The barbers move so fast, it feels like they're racing the catapults topside. Turn the corner, and you walk straight into a legit shopping corridor. The ship store, or ship store as we call it, stretches 50 meters. You can buy Nike sneakers that haven't even hit stateside shelves yet, PlayStations, protein bars, and yes, actual jewelry in locked display cases. I once watched a sailor pick out wedding rings right before we left on a 6-month cruise. He said he'd propose over video call and mail the ring home with the next helo.
Speaking of mail, we have our own zip code, 09550. When the ship is steaming through the Arabian Sea, letters and packages fly to Bahrain first, then get choppered to the flight deck, then ride the elevator down to our little post office, where a real Navy postal clerk with proper patches stands behind the counter. I still keep an envelope with that zip. To me, it's worth more than any medal. Keep walking. Suddenly, the smell of food hits you like a wall and your stomach wakes up instantly. The main galley is 4 massive dining rooms, each the size of a basketball court. 17,000 meals a day, no exaggeration. During mid-rats, midnight rations, when we cross time zones, the place turns into a 24-hour diner where you can grab steak and eggs or fresh-baked pie with ice cream. One night at 0300, I ran into the carrier strike group commander in sweatpants, waiting in line for a double cheeseburger. He just shrugged and grinned. Even an admiral has to be human sometimes. All of this seems insane until you remember we're gone 7 or 8 months without a single port call. 5,000 people live full lives here. Someone's finishing a dissertation in the ship's library. Someone's grinding Spanish on Duolingo in their rack. Someone's recording a podcast from a radio booth deep in the bowels. We've got a dental clinic where they'll pull a wisdom tooth in the middle of a storm. A chapel with Sunday services led by the chaplain. Even a tiny coffee shop where the barista does latte art shaped like anchors. But the real magic starts when you go even lower, to the humming cathedral of the distilling plants. Every single day, this ship pulls 400,000 gallons of fresh water straight out of the ocean, enough for a city of 50,000. I once stood next to those pipes while an engineer showed me the counter spinning like a taximeter, and for a moment I felt like I was inside a living creature. The ship breathes in salt water and exhales fresh like a massive steel whale. That's when it hits you. These aren't just 11 steel boxes with airplanes on the roof. These are 11 floating cities that America sent into the oceans so no one on the planet ever forgets who keeps the seas open.
I drop down one more deck where the air cools off and stops smelling of jet fuel. Now it's a mix of supermarket and warehouse. Deep in the heart of the USS George H.W. Bush is the reason we don't lose our minds 3 months out of Norfolk. 90 straight days of total self-sufficiency.
90 days without a port, without land, without Walmart or Amazon Prime. Everything 5,000 people could possibly need is already aboard, from dental floss to wedding rings, from protein powder to baby diapers. Yes, we have young moms who nurse between watches. The heavy door marked Ship Store Main swings open, and the first thing that hits you is the light. Real retail light like the Target back in Virginia Beach. No dim bulbs, no gray military drab. Floor-to-ceiling shelves, neat price tags, even shopping baskets by the door. I grab one out of habit and start walking the aisle. Left side, electronics. Brand new iPhones that haven't even dropped stateside yet. Razor mice, 100,000 mAh power banks, because 4 guys in a birthing share exactly 2 outlets. Right side, the gym section. Bars, dumbbells, yoga mats, even heavy bags the guys hang in the hangar when flight ops are cold. Farther down, clothing. Not just uniforms and long johns. Real Levi's, hoodies with the ship's crest that end up all over American college campuses, even evening dresses. I once watched a lieutenant buy a little black dress because New Year's in the wardroom was black tie and getting one tailored in the middle of the Indian Ocean wasn't exactly an option. At the end of the main aisle, a jewelry and watch case. Yes, real Rolexes, no fakes. Officers flush with sea pay sometimes pick up a Submariner tax-free right here at sea. Next to it, a rack of greeting cards. Happy birthday, son. I miss you, babe. Congrats on graduation. I've sent plenty. Scribbled on my knee in birthing, dropped in the blue mailbox by the store, and 3 weeks later, it's in my wife's hands in San Diego. Running this whole show is a guy we just call Supply, Lieutenant Commander Ramirez. He walks the aisles in uniform with a tablet like any store manager on shore. Check it out, he tells me, sliding a hand across the chip rack. We're up to 127 snack varieties. 8 months ago, it was 94. The crew voted for spicier stuff, so we brought in Takis and those Korean fire noodles. I ask how they keep track of it all. He laughs. Our inventory system is better than half the stores on land. Every candy bar is scanned, every pack of socks accounted for. Try to walk out without paying. Cameras, logs, and next stop is the captain's mast.
One compartment over is the second, smaller, and way more beloved store we call the Gidunk, an Old Navy tradition. Candy, ice cream, energy drinks, and fresh pastries baked right behind the bulkhead. At 0300, when you're a zombie after a 12-hour watch, the smell of hot donuts drifting out of the Gidunk will resurrect you faster than coffee. There are also 2 monster soda machines, 24 flavors each. Coke, Dr. Pepper, Monster, even root beer I'd never touch on land, but on month 4 at sea, tastes like the nectar of the gods. I'm standing at the register watching a first-class petty officer buy his wife Chanel No. 5 and a box of Godiva chocolates, and that's when I get it. This whole thing exists so the guy who, tomorrow, will be launching jets into the night over the Persian Gulf can, tonight, still feel like a real person with a home, a family, and the chance to surprise the woman he loves 8,000 miles away. And while the ocean rages outside, down here in the steel belly of the carrier, a little piece of America keeps running. Shelves, price tags, and the smell of fresh donuts at 3 in the morning. I push through a narrow beat-up door that says, Gidunk, open 24/7, and step into another world. The air smells like cotton candy, fresh popcorn, and something impossibly childhood sweet, like someone ripped open a portal to the summer of 1997. Dim neon lights, posters of Tom and Jerry, vintage 1950s Coca-Cola ads on the bulkheads. In the corner stands an old restored Wurlitzer jukebox some sailor brought back to life during Vietnam. Right now, it's quietly spinning Elvis. I first heard the word Gidunk in boot camp and thought it just meant snack. Turns out it's a full-blown religion. The story an old chief with 40 years told me sounds like a tall tale, but I swear it's true. Back in the 1920s, there was a comic strip about a teenager named Harold Teen, and at the local soda shop, they served an insane sundae, chocolate ice cream with ladyfinger cookies jammed in up to the knuckles, drowned in syrup and nuts. They called it a Geedunk sundae. America lost its mind. Soda shops started calling themselves Geedunk shops. The name jumped to the Navy, and when the fleet went completely dry in 1911, the admirals decided, let the boys at least get their sugar fix. The first vending machines and snack bars appeared, the sailors instantly dubbed them Geedunk, and the name stuck for over a century. Even the Marines, who usually mock us for our cushy carrier life, when they want chips or an energy drink, say, heading to the Geedunk. On the Bush, we have two main Geedunks, one up forward for the air wing guys, one aft for the black shoes down in the engine rooms. But there's a third, secret one on the fourth deck that only opens after midnight and only to insiders. Inside is an old fridge that always has Ben & Jerry's at cost and real New York cheesecake some supply officer smuggles aboard in dry ice from home.
I walk up to the counter. Behind it is a second class named Garcia with a badge that reads Geedunk King. He grins like I just came for salvation instead of a pack of Oreos. What'll it be tonight, sir? We just got Korean fire chips and limited edition marshmallow Coke. Both, and give me a thick, old-school milkshake. $12.50, but if you say the magic word, it's 10. Geedunk? 10 on the dot, he laughs and rings me up. The coolest part? Every dollar that changes hands here, and thousands move through these counters every day, never leaves the ship. It goes straight into the MWR fund, Morale, Welfare, and Recreation. That's how we pay for steak nights on the flight deck, new PlayStations in the wardroom, and Tiger Cruise tickets, so families can fly out and spend the day with us. One time that money even brought a live bald eagle, the ship's mascot, to the flight deck for a full-on show. The eagle crapped on the admiral, but that's another story. I grab my shake, slide onto a tall stool by the porthole, and watch black water racing past the thick glass. Down there, 3 kilometers deep, real cities lie on the ocean floor, but none of them can touch what we have right here. A tiny neon island where a buck buys you a piece of home and reminds you of running to the ice cream shop with your buddies when you were 12. And while the ship cuts through the night, in the Geedunk, it's still 1956, still smells like vanilla and freedom, and nobody ever says we're closing, because for us, this isn't just a store. It's a last place on Earth where real American magic still works. I drop down the ladder to the second deck, and 20 meters out, I already hear the familiar buzz. Dozens of Wall and Phillips clippers going at once like a swarm of steel bees. The smell is its own masterpiece. Johnson's baby powder, Clubman aftershave, and hot mustache wax. Over the door, a simple sign says, Barbershop, open, and below it someone scribbled with a marker, today, 247 haircuts and counting. Tomorrow it'll be 250. The day after, 2. That's not a record, that's just Tuesday on the Abraham Lincoln. Inside, 4 chairs, all full, 15 more guys on steel benches scrolling phones or just closing their eyes for a rare moment of peace. On the wall, a huge poster. Look sharp, feel sharp, fight sharp. Under it, mirrors, bright lights like a Hollywood makeup trailer, and shelves that would make any Brooklyn barbershop jealous. Roussel pomade, uppercut clay, honest Amish beard oil, even just for men because commanders sometimes need to hide the gray before Congress shows up. At the first chair is Petty Officer First Class Rico Rodriguez, ship legend. Hands like a pianist, speed that makes your head spin. Right now he's doing a high and tight with a perfect skin fade on a lieutenant commander from the air wing. Stateside, that cut would run $70. Here, it's 8. And tips go toward pizza at the end of deployment.
Next, Rico yells without looking up. I slide into the still warm chair. Usual, sir. 02 on top, 3 fade, leave the length on the front for a comb back. Exactly. And clean up the beard. My wife says on FaceTime I'm starting to look like a homeless Viking. While Rico works, I study the Wall of Fame, the ship's barbershop Hall of Fame. There's Admiral Hopkins with a perfect side part, the strike group commander rocking a classic pompadour, even a Marine recon guy who asked Rico to shave "Don't Tread on Me" and the snake on the back of his head. It came out so clean the guy went hatless for a week, even on the flight deck. We've got 3 barbershops total, one right here under the flight deck, one aft for the engineers, and one near the wardroom with leather chairs and slightly higher prices. But this one is the busiest. 6 in the morning till 10 at night, no breaks. During peak hours, the line spills into the passageway, and guys stand there like it's a Manhattan Starbucks, except instead of lattes, they're waiting for a haircut. You know why we take this so seriously? Rico asks, running a hot razor along my neck. Because when you look like a person, you feel like a person. And when you haven't seen land in 5 months, when they might call you out at 0300 for general quarters, a good haircut is the last thing that reminds you you're still you, not just a number on a uniform. He whips off the cape, brushes the hair onto the deck, a dedicated sailor will vacuum it later, spins the chair to the mirror, clean lines, fresh fade, beard on point, like a magazine ad. For a second, I forget there's a reactor roaring behind the bulkhead and F-35s prepping for night ops overhead. $10, sir. Thanks for the trust. I hand him a 15. Keep the change for the pizza fund. Roger that. Next. I step out into the passageway, run my hand over the back of my head, skin smooth as if I just came back from leave, and head to watch while the clippers start buzzing again behind me. 250 people will walk out of there today a little sharper, a little more themselves. And somewhere out in another ocean, a steel city keeps moving, where even in the thick of war, there's a place that'll cut your hair like you're headed to a date in downtown San Diego tomorrow, instead of a combat watch.
I wake up to the smell of bacon, somehow sneaking through 3 steel bulkheads in the ventilation. The clock reads 05:17, but the main mess is already clanging with trays, and someone is yelling, 4 cheese omelets, who wants one while it's hot? This isn't a dream. It's just a regular morning on the Harry S. Truman, where right now 114 cooks have been feeding a city of 5,000 people for the last 3 hours, while we steam at 30 knots somewhere between Sicily and the Suez. I go down, the mess deck doors hiss open like an aircraft elevator, and suddenly it's an ocean of stainless steel and light. 5 serving lines, each longer than a Black Friday queue at Costco. Overhead boards, like at the airport. Line 1, breakfast burritos. Line 3, made-to-order omelets. Line 5, vegan and halal. Yeah, we've got a dedicated vegan and halal line. Try finding that in any army chow hall on land.
I grab a heavy metal tray, old school, and get in line 3. In front of me, a sailor in headphones is humming Drake. Behind him, 2 Marines are arguing about how much protein is in one chicken breast. 10 minutes later, my tray is loaded. 3 poached eggs, 4 strips of crispy bacon, not that rubber crap they show in movies, a Belgian waffle with real maple syrup, and a bowl of fruit where the strawberries look like they were picked yesterday in California. All of it, $0, 0 cents. They feed us for free. Otherwise, 5,000 people would eat each other alive by month 3. I turn to the dining area, and it takes my breath away. 1,200 chairs, almost everyone taken. The noise is deafening. Clanging silverware, laughter, someone yelling across the space, "Yo, Johnson, pass the ketchup or I'm pouring it in your boot." High overhead, like a school gym ceiling, huge screens running ship TV, CNN morning news, and a running calorie counter that's already passed 11,000 breakfasts served today. I find an empty seat next to a lieutenant from Met, pajama bottoms, hair in a messy bun. The beauty of shipboard life, nobody cares what you're wearing in the mess. "How'd you sleep?" I ask. 3 hours. Got yanked for a forecast. You? Same, but now I've got waffle and bacon, so the day is already a win. Behind the bulkhead, in what we call culinary hell, it's pushing 120 degrees Fahrenheit right now. I've been back there once for extra milk. 114 people in white jackets move like an orchestra. One guy stirring a 10-gallon pot of chili, another slicing chicken breasts on a conveyor, a third laying 60 steaks on the grill at once. Everything shines. Everything is lined up perfectly, like a 3-Michelin-star kitchen, except the head chef is a chief with a full-back Semper Fi tattoo and a voice that rattles the bulkheads. One of the cooks, a Filipino named Mark, hollers over the counter, "Sir, tonight it's crab legs and lobster tails, celebrating day 100 at sea." I throw him a thumbs up. Day 100 is serious. That's when you start forgetting what real grass smells like. We eat fast. 20 minutes later, it's either watch, gym, or rack. Trays fly into carts that roll off to a dishwasher the size of a box truck. They wash over 20,000 plates a day here, and it runs like a Swiss watch. I stand up, drop my tray, and pause at the hatch for a second. I look at this humming hive of people, smells, and light, and realize, right now, while up top they're prepping to launch $100 million jets, down here, 114 souls are doing the real work of war, feeding us so we can win it. And as long as we've got hot bacon in the morning and crab legs on day 100, we sure as hell aren't losing.
I walk into the post office on the third deck and instantly get hit with the smell of paper, glue, and something indefinably home. Over the door, a sign reads, U.S. Post Office, FPO AE 09551. Yeah, our own zip code. As long as the ship lives, those digits live with her, like a passport. When the bush is in the Arabian Sea, everything addressed to my house in San Diego flies to New York first, then Bahrain, then helo to the flight deck, then down here to this little steel room the size of a classroom. Behind the counter is Petty Officer Second Class Kelly. Everyone just calls her Mail Lady like it's her official title. She's got a USPS badge pinned to her camouflage. On the wall, a giant corkboard covered with photos. Kids in Halloween costumes, newborns in tiny anchor caps, dogs and I Love My Sailor t-shirts. All brought in by the crew so Kelly knows exactly who she's staying up all night sorting tons of paper for. 22 bags today, she says without looking up. 3 of them yours, handsome. I step closer and see them. Priority mail stickers, my wife's handwriting, and one huge box the size of a microwave. Can't open it yet. Regulations. X-ray first in case someone decided to send a grenade instead of cookies. But I already know what's inside. Homemade chocolate chip cookies, new socks, and the letter she always puts on top. Kelly works with just 2 assistants, yet up to 5,000 pieces of mail pass through their hands every single day. Every letter, every package, every official order straight from the Pentagon, scanned, logged, and dropped into the exact right slot. With 4,800 souls aboard, one wrong digit in a berthing number, and somebody's I love you ends up with the wrong husband. That never happens. Ever. The hardest part, Kelly says, stamping another letter, is when someone transfers mid-deployment. Yesterday, a reactor guy moved to the Vincent. I intercepted 3 of his boxes in Bahrain and rerouted them. His wife won't even notice the delay. Outbound mail is pure magic. You scribble a letter on your knee in berthing, toss it in the blue box by the mess decks, and 2 or 3 weeks later, it's in your mom's hands in Ohio. Once I sent my little girl a drawing. She was in 1st grade. Just a jet on the flight deck with Daddy's office written underneath. A month later, a video showed up. She's holding it up to her whole class, announcing, "My dad works on the biggest ship in the world." I've watched that clip at least 100 times.
Right next to the post office is the laundry. Huge, like a small factory. 20 industrial washers, 20 dryers, everything roaring so loud you have to shout. They process tons of uniforms, sheets, and towels every day. You drop off your red bag with your berthing number, get a receipt, and 2 days later, everything comes back clean, pressed, and folded better than any Hilton. Once I found a note in my pocket. "Lieutenant, hole in your sock. Threw it out, put in new ones." Just because. From the heart. I pick up my boxes, clutch them to my chest like the most precious thing I own, because they are, and head for the elevator. Behind me, Kelly yells at someone, "Hey Jones, your wife sent 20 pounds of cookies. Share with the crew or I'm throwing you in the brig myself." Everyone laughs, even the guys still waiting in line. And there you are. walking down a steel passageway with a piece of home in your arms, realizing thousands of miles away, life goes on. Kids grow, dogs wait by the door, wives write letters, and down here, in the steel gut of a carrier, there are people who make damn sure that thread never breaks. As long as this little post office with zip 09551 keeps running, we're not just floating in the middle of the ocean. We're still home. I dropped down to the fourth deck at 0300 because I forgot to turn in my laundry bag before watch, and now my entire dress white uniform reeks of sweat and JP5. The laundry hatch opens with a clang like I'm walking into the engine room instead of the place that washes socks. Inside, it's a symphony from hell. 20 100-pound washers spinning so hard the bulkheads shake. Dryers roaring like jets on full afterburner. Steam so thick I can't see for the first 5 seconds. Behind the counter stands Petty Officer First Class Lee, a Vietnamese guy from Texas the whole ship just calls laundry boss. Rubber boots to the knee, shirt soaked through, grin wider than the Persian Gulf. "Lieutenant, last minute again," he shouts over the noise. "I thought you were going to wear that uniform till the end of deployment." "Sorry, Lee. Admiral's inspection tomorrow, and I look like a grease monkey after flight ops. Give me the bag. 6 hours, and it'll be straight out of a boutique." I toss him my red bag. He flings it into a machine without looking. Everything here runs on numbers. 4,800 bags a day. Tons of hospital sheets, wardroom tablecloths, gym towels, even baby diapers. We've got 2 young moms aboard right now, and their kids get clean laundry as fast as the skipper does. Lee walks me deeper, past 3 monster dry cleaning machines that can swallow 20 dress jackets at once. "See this?" he says, slapping the steel side. "Tomorrow's award ceremony on the flight deck. 120 people in whites, all gonna shine so bright the Admiral will need sunglasses." He pops a door and a cloud of fresh steam and solvent rolls out, the exact smell I remember from my Annapolis commissioning.
I once asked how they never mix up thousands of bags. He showed me the system. Every bag has an RFID chip, every item gets scanned, everything lives in the computer. Lose a sock? 5 minutes later, Lee knows exactly which washer it died in. "We lose less laundry than Vegas hotels on New Year's Eve," he bragged. There's a separate room where 2 Filipinos hand-press dress uniforms. 5-kilo irons, steam stations like you'd find on Fifth Avenue. One of them, Ronnie, can put a crease in trousers sharp enough to slice steak. When I picked up my jacket before the president visited, he'd even polished the buttons to diamond brightness. Free. Just because you guys fly for us up there, sir. I walk out at 0600, uniform ready, folded in a clean bag with a note, "Don't forget to shave, handsome." I slip into the snow-white jacket, and it fits like it was tailored for $1,000, even though 2 days ago I slept in it after a 12-hour watch. And later you're standing on the flight deck under the sun, uniform perfect, insignia gleaming like new, and you realize somewhere down in the steel belly there are people who spent all night washing, pressing, and folding, so you look like you just stepped out of the Pentagon instead of a 3-man berthing the size of a closet. This isn't just the laundry, it's one more proof. The Navy takes care of us down to the smallest detail, so we never have to think about dirty socks, so we wear the uniform with pride, so when they film us in Tokyo or Dubai, the world sees American warriors who look like they walked off a recruiting poster, not exhausted sailors. And while Lee and his crew are down there in the heat and steam washing tons of laundry, we up here can focus on the main thing, keeping the sky and the sea under control. Because when your uniform fits perfectly, you feel invincible. I wake up because my right cheek is swollen like a balloon, and the tooth is throbbing like someone's running a drill inside it. The clock says 0214, the ship is rocking on 3-foot swells, and I know, time to head to sickbay. On a carrier, it's just called medical, but we all know it's a full-blown hospital that sails with us and can do everything short of a heart transplant, though rumor has it the new Ford-class ships will have that soon too. I go down to the second deck,
Past the door with the red cross and the sign, Dental, open 24/7. Inside, it's bright as an operating room, smelling of mint and ozone from the sterilizers. Behind the counter is Petty Officer Pak, a Korean from LA the entire air wing fears more than the catapult. "Lieutenant, nerve acting up again?" he asks, without even glancing at my chart. "Lower third molar. Pretty sure it's trying to kill me." X-ray. 5 minutes and you're saved.
The X-ray is digital. The image pops up on screen before I can even spit. Pak looks, shakes his head. Paracoronitis. We're pulling it now, or in 24 hours you'll be praying for a catapult shot without a chute. The chair reclines. There's a flat screen in the ceiling playing Friends, Season 6. While Pak gives me the shot, I watch Ross argue with Rachel, then suddenly my cheek goes numb and the fear vanishes. 7 minutes later, the wisdom tooth is sitting in a metal tray and I never even felt it leave. "Saltwater rinse every 2 hours, Pak says, writing me Motrin and antibiotics straight to the ship's pharmacy, and no steak on the right side for a week, though I know you'll eat it anyway. Farther down the passageway is the main medical bay. Serious stuff. 2 full operating rooms, X-ray, ultrasound, a blood lab that turns results in 20 minutes, even an optometry shop with an entire wall of lenses. I've seen them bring in a sailor with a blown-out knee from Hangar Bay basketball. 3 hours later, he was sewn up. 3 months later, he was running again. I've seen them deliver a baby, yes, at sea. One of our officers gave birth healthy to the sound of the ship's horn saluting a brand new carrier citizen. The pharmacy works like Walgreens. Walk in with your ID card, walk out with everything from vitamins to inhalers, free. Once I showed up with some weird rash from Jebel Ali. In 5 minutes they handed me antihistamines I can't even get stateside without a prescription. The real miracle is the people. Dr. Fernandez, the surgeon from Miami, can stitch a steel cable laceration in the storm while the ship heals 15 degrees and still crack jokes in Spanish. Nurse Johnson from Alabama remembers who has asthma, who's diabetic, and if you miss a shot, she'll hunt you down even if you're hiding in the reactor department. I walk out of dental with cotton in my mouth and an ice pack on my cheek while the ship still rolls, but the tooth doesn't hurt anymore, and I know if tomorrow it's appendicitis, the day after a broken arm, a month from now something serious, down here in the steel gut there are people who will pull me through, and they'll do it better than a lot of shore hospitals. Because on a carrier, your health isn't personal business, it's mission readiness. If one of 5,000 can't stand watch, the whole ship feels it. That's why they treat you fast, treat you right, and treat you with love. And when I climb back to the flight deck tomorrow, I'll know behind me aren't just jets and missiles, but an entire hospital that sails every ocean with me. And damn, that makes you feel truly unbeatable.
I walk into the main gym at 22:30. Watch is over, sleep still isn't coming. Old school Metallica is blasting from the speakers. The air smells of iron, sweat, and corner coffee machine brew. 20 treadmills, all taken. Bars loaded from 45 to 675 pounds. Dumbbells up to 200. Even a CrossFit corner where Marines are banging out muscle-ups like the world ends tomorrow. Over it all hangs a giant flag that says, "No excuses," and nobody's looking for any. Even the Admiral slips in at 0500 when he thinks no one's watching and bangs out 10 reps at 225. Right next door is the library, quiet as a church. Shelves to the ceiling, maybe 10,000 books, from the Iliad to the latest Mark Levin. In the corner sit 6 computers hooked to online courses. Someone's finishing a bachelor's, someone's grinding Arabic, someone's just rereading Lord of the Rings for the 5th time. I took 2 MBA finals right here during this deployment. The librarian, a sweet older civilian named Mrs. Rodriguez, walks between the tables whispering, "Hush, children, people are building their future here." And on Saturday nights, the entire Hangar Bay 2 turns into a movie theater. They drop a giant screen, set up 400 folding chairs, and we watch Top Gun Maverick in 4K while real Top Guns sit 10 meters overhead. When Maverick launches off the deck, the whole place erupts like we're the ones about to go fly the mission. Afterward, they pop popcorn in the galley, and the smell drifts up 3 decks. There's also the Oasis, a tiny lounge aft with an old couch, an Xbox Series X, a foosball table, and a real espresso machine.
You have to sign up for 15-minute slots because the list is endless. I once beat the ship's CO in a FIFA tournament there. He still brings it up at every brief.
And when you've been at sea 6 months and you hit the gym, lift some iron, then head to the library, then watch a movie with the best friends you never had on the outside, it suddenly hits you. This isn't just a ship. It's home, with all its smells, sounds, and people who become family. We left Norfolk strangers, 5,000 people from different ranks, states, stories. Now I know who snores across the passageway, who always gives their dessert to the new guys, who cries in the shower after letters from home. We rode out 9-foot swells together, ate crab legs on day 100 together, buried a shipmate at sea together when that one letter came. So the next time you see our silhouette on the news, jets on deck, flag flying high, remember, this isn't just steel and weapons. It's a city where 5,000 people choose every single day to get up, train, learn, laugh, and keep going. Because somewhere beyond the horizon is a country that trusted us with its most precious thing, its freedom. And as long as we've got a gym open at 0300, a library that never closes, and a movie theater under the stars, we'll be ready to sail to the edge of the world. Because we don't just serve on a carrier. We live here. And damn it, it's the best city on earth.